Hi everyone, welcome back to Scrambled Eggs, a podcast you'll hear only if you're lucky. I'm Zoe.
I'm Kingsley.
And this episode is part of our Scotch Egg Series podcast, which is a very English podcast, and we're going to chat in English.
So what's the topic of today?
So the topic of today is a very heavy topic, and it is about rejection.
Yes,
so I think
rejection.
a lot of us has encountered rejection in some degree in our lives, whether it's like massive or even like tiny like rejections. But today I would like to focus on asking, what is the biggest rejection you've had like in your entire life, like up to now?
For me, I would say back then when I was 17, if people have listened to my music, they would know. It was about a graduation trip with my friends. So basically, my friends and I have had planned this trip for a year and more because we were talking about it for such a long period of time. And then it's me and two girlfriends and one boyfriend. And we were very close and we always hang out and stuff like that. And up to a point, there was kind of like some complicated situations going on because they want to go on a double date or something. And then they kind of rejected me to join. I mean, it's not like they didn't ask me to join, but if I joined, it would be very embarrassing. So I didn't join. And then somehow I kind of considered that as a rejection. And then that kind of traumatized me a little bit because I think I was a little bit disappointed at them because I treasured that kind of friendship very much, but they kind of rejected me, I think. But we are in good terms now, so we're fine. But I still consider that as the biggest rejection I've ever had.
Yeah, maybe like a rejection / betrayal kind of thing. I think it's because like you have trust in them and they were your friends. That's why it hurts so much when they kind of like just choose somebody else over you, or like chose like other, girlfriends, boyfriends, or whatever over their friend.
What about you, Zoe?
Yeah, about me, I used to think like I didn't really face a lot of big rejections in life, although I do encounter rejections like not on a daily basis, but like regularly. Maybe I just don't pay too much attention to it or like let it affect me that much. But now that I think about it, I think the biggest thing that I've ever wanted like approval of, maybe it was like from my parents or something. I haven't really thought about that until lately. And I kept on thinking about how it's not like they say like, oh, you're not good enough. Well, sometimes they do say it, but it's not like they throw that in my face as like, oh, we reject you. You're not our daughter, or you're not the daughter we want to be. But it's like very subtly, like what they do, what they say, like indirectly, which makes me feel like I'm rejected, as in like I'm not accepted as I am, but I have to reach like a certain standard in their mind to be able to be accepted and considered good. And I consider that as a form of rejection because that's not me. Yeah, that's what I've been thinking a lot about lately. Yeah.
I think we all have gone through a phase that our parents have really high standard on us, and then we were trying to meet that standard, but apparently we knew that it wasn't us. And then we sort of just you still want to get approval from your parents, but it's very difficult because you guys are focusing on different, like they and us are focusing on different things.
Yeah, I do think that as well. It's just apart from discussing like our biggest rejection, I do think like rejections are kind of divided into like a few categories, which I would like to dive deeper into as well. So the first one I would like to talk about is like love interest rejection. I think it's a very kind of juicy thing, especially in a teenage years, to have like a crush on people and then like confessing your love to them, and then like and like pink envelopes and things like that. Oh, very sweet, very teenage drama, things like that. But have you ever tried confessing your love? Like not even love, like somebody to someone you like, okay, that you like them, and they're like, nope, I don't like you. Have you tried that? Have you experienced that?
I think when I was really, really small, like maybe let's say 10 or 11 years old, I was very brave. I always confess to people. Like when
always? What do you mean always? Do you have like a lot of people on your list? What does that mean?
Not really, but it's like I got the courage to confess to people that I really liked, and obviously they didn't like me back. But I don't think that was hurtful. Like I mean, I was really small. I didn't consider that as like a really traumatizing process because.
Do you have somebody that you like when you're older, or like now, or something that doesn't love you back, or not love? Come on, like I think doesn't like you back.
I think that comes to another point that it's not because they reject you. It's more like you reject yourself, because I think when you love someone, but you deeply think that that person and you didn't even like you guys have no chance of getting it together, and then that person would not like you back. They wouldn't like you back, and that kind of impression to yourself.
Insecurity,
that's insecurity. I think for most of the time, it's not like they reject me, but more like before I even confess my love, I would just shut myself out, and I would be like, oh, they wouldn't like me back. I shouldn't ask anything because I don't want to change anything. And I think that kind of feeling has grown much stronger and stronger throughout my teenagehood years. And then like up to this day, I think I'm still trying to like get over this kind of insecurity.
But does this stem from like your bodily changes when you're going through puberty, or does this stem from your mind, as in thinking intellectually you're not compatible with them, or is it more like just a physical issue?
I think it's more like intellectually. I wouldn't say like, I'm a very ordinary guy, but it's like you deeply know that you guys do not share any common interests. You just like them. But if you think about how you guys can like go on as a couple, or go on as a like a partner, a life partner, I think maybe I think too much. Maybe I just overthinking everything. Like, we wouldn't have topics to talk about because we don't have common interest, and we don't have like a common group of friends, stuff like that. And then I was like, okay, I should just leave this kind of feeling. Or maybe they are too old, they're too young. We were in different phases in life. Yes. Yeah, we look for different things. Maybe I didn't even know what I'm looking for, and then they've already have like, oh, I need to find a partner in life. Or maybe they're very young, they just entered university, and then they're
they're at different phases of life.
Yeah, I'm wild and free. And then I wouldn't even ask them out because it's really, you don't want to change anything in the relationship between you and them. And then you're just like, okay, let me stop here. And then,
but do you think that actually harms your love life, or do you think that actually helps you, allow you to make more like better decisions, as in like making sure this person is really compatible with you before you go forward? But sometimes, the most compatible person with you might not work out, but someone who has like different life goals or different directions, but you guys match. But because of your kind of overthinking, do you think that actually impacts you from, making the first step and subsequently maybe potentially losing your soulmate or the one or something like that?
Yeah, I think so far it's doing more harm to me than doing good to me, because I haven't felt like being in a relationship or the feeling of loving someone for such a long period of time. It kind of makes me feel like maybe if I really have that opportunity to be in a relationship or something, I wouldn't know how to react or do certain kind of things in relationships. And then, I was talking to one of my teachers, high school teachers, one day, and then he told me like, if you have the opportunity, you should try, because you wouldn't know who you are and what you really want until you try. Don't overthink everything. If the chance goes by, you should just give it a try. I do think so. But I'm leaving alone right now. I'm just going to the office and then go off work and then just stay in my flat every day. That kind of limits my social circle, but I'm trying. I'm definitely trying.
Yeah. I do not have such a deep rooted thing. Maybe it's just I haven't really had time to think about this yet. Maybe when I have like alone time and think about it, and I'll like further reject myself more than you reject yourself. But maybe because I don't really have that much interest in dating right now or anything, I don't really think about it that much. But I do have like rejection experience in the past. I think it was back in primary school. I really liked this boy. And then we hang out. We were like great friends. And yeah, I was like going to change schools. I'm going to like a different school for high school while he's staying in the primary school. And I remember like me telling myself like, it's gonna be fine. Like if it works out, then good. If it doesn't work out, like I'm going to another school anyway. I might as well just do it. And like I did it, and it did not work out. I embarrassed the crap out of myself. Yeah, I embarrassed the crap out of myself. We didn't talk for a while, but then we kind of met each other back in like Form 6. And then like it was like this embarrassing experience was well in the past. Nobody remembers it. I wouldn't bring it up, but we were like really good friends, even like back then. And we just chatted, and it was such a long time that we have seen each other and chatted. And then we had dinner with another few friends, which was from my previous school, and everything just worked out. And like he's in a really long-term and firm relationship with one of my best friends when I was in primary school, and I'm so happy for them. And that was the major rejection I've experienced so far.
Yeah, but that sounds really optimistic. And then also like
it
positive.
is, and I'm glad it turned out that way. I just remember I texted him on Facebook, like message. No, there's no messenger back then, but like Facebook text message.
Yes.
It's not like text. I used the audio, like I recorded something like,
oh my God,
like you're things like that. And he left me on red. And then like I was like kind of like I have this rage and embarrassment, and like I don't know, after a few days out, and then I think I went and asked him like, why didn't you reply to my message? And I was just thinking about that, and it's so cringe. Well, I had guts back then, not now anymore. But I'm glad it turned out the way it did now, which is pretty fun.
I did confess to like someone like through Facebook, not Messenger, but Facebook as well. I still remember back then there was like
that was so long time ago. We know that if it's not Messenger, it's like at least, I don't know, 5 or 6 years back then.
I think 8
Even
years
more.
maybe.
8
years. I think there was like a Facebook group which is having the most popular kids in my year. I was one of them. And I remember I was posting stuff every day like, oh, she doesn't like me back.
Oh yeah, it's something we all went through. The cringiest post ever.
But like talking about this kind of love interest rejection, it really makes me feel like I need to be more confident, because I remember I was talking to someone recently, like maybe half a year ago, maybe, or even like a few months ago, and then that person also told me like you need to have more confidence, because I feel like you're always inconfident, and then you just need to believe in yourself. Yeah,
we all, I think it was something that we all go through, and something that we can all work on. It's not something that you're gonna achieve like 1 second, like in 1 second, or like in a week or something. It's something that takes time. It takes like, you need to have time with yourself to kind of find out more about yourself and, embracing the flaws or embracing, the good parts, the bad parts and everything, just like embracing who you really are. And once you're comfortable with that, that's when you feel more confident about, just approaching people, because it's just people in the end.
I need to learn about that.
Yeah, it takes time.
But how should we make our parents approve what we do?
I think that's very hard because, for example, if it's like a love interest, like if they do like you, if they don't like you, you can just like cut ties or like, okay, bye. This is just like a person that you have
ghosting
no connection to whatsoever. Yeah. But like the parents part is actually really tricky because you can't really cut ties unless you get like estranged from your family forever. But it's not something that we want to do, I think.
Yeah.
Unless like our parents do something that's super traumatizing to us and we can't really stand their presence anymore, things like that.
Yeah.
But I think it's really hard to get our parents' approval, especially Asian parents. Not that I'm trying to stereotype anything here, but I think Asian parents usually have this high standard for the kids, like to reach academically. I think they care less about whether their kids are like nice people, to be honest. I don't want to stereotype, but it's just I have this general feeling. I mean, they do care, I think, but they care about it less than academics, as in like, as long as you're like a perfect child, as in like you win medals, you get like prizes, you know how to play the piano, the violin, you get like good grades. Like, sometimes maybe you shove a kid to the floor too, they turn a blind eye to it, I guess. As long as like you're the perfect display child sometimes. That's why I feel like if you fail to reach that standard sometimes, they might not accept you, as in not like they're gonna throw you out of the house or something, but not gonna show you like true affection. Or is it like a tactic to make you do better? I actually don't know.
I don't know. But I do think that really depends on what your parents believe in. I remember when I was young, my parents were really strict about my results in school as well. Like they would be mad if I didn't get top 3 or something. But up to a point, I think is in higher form, and it's just too competitive. And I told that to my parents, like, how am I gonna compete with other people if we're just chasing for the 0.001 mark? You know what I mean? It's just like a very slight difference, but then there could be a really huge gaps in terms of your ranking. And I told them this because I told them, I promised to them, like, I'll promise you at the end of the day, I can get into a really good uni and I'm going to study architecture. That's for sure. But I must tell you that I cannot compete for even maybe the top 10, because it's really, it doesn't have a point to do so. I think they did reject me, but I sort of explained the situation to them. I kind of have the guts to. I just told them, like, it's really impossible, and I don't want to hurt myself. I don't want to feel too stressed, because we all have the pressure of like competing with each other, and then especially we in the science class, it was way too competitive, and they ended up understanding me. So I didn't have the problem of like getting good results just to get their approval. But I would say growing up, I kind of like really hide myself, like hiding some of my emotions from them. So like after I get into university, I told them actually I wasn't having a really good time in my high school, and I wasn't really like up to today. I still think like I'm still hiding something from them, but the reason behind this is I don't think they approve that side of me, maybe. So it's not like I'm not a good kid, but maybe I do something that they don't really like. You know what I mean? Just like some people, when they tell their parents, "Oh, I'm doing music," and then their parents would be like, "Oh, you're doing something that doesn't really make a profit. It cannot make you have a life. You'll be poor or something. You'll starve." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
just like this kind of concept.
It's because like there's two generations. There's like two distinct concepts or morals that they live by. For example, for our generation, we want to do what we want to do, and sometimes we would rather have like a lower income than suffer at a job that makes us sad. Whereas maybe in our parents' era, stability in terms of financial stability and things like that are priorities for them, because maybe they have a family and things like that. Like they can't afford to just go off and do what they want when there are mouths to feed at home. So maybe they think what they did back in the days is actually the best thing, or the thing that is the priority. And that's why they impose that on you, or like our generation. But our generation thinks it's, what I want to do, what makes me happy at the end of the day. Like as long as I have a roof over my head and I can feed myself, like I'm not on the streets and things like that. It doesn't matter if I'm living, like I don't want to live in like a luxurious mansion or anything. But it's just there's this gap between the two values that sometimes we can't really get approval from our parents. That's why I think even if you're hiding something from your parents, I think you're incredibly lucky because you have parents that are quite open-minded and they would listen to you. Whereas some parents might think that because they're parents, they're at like a level of authority and all their young kids should listen to them. So it's harder for those kids to win the approval of their parents or get them to even listen to what their thoughts are. And I think that's why a lot of kids experience like rejection, even if they have the courage to say what was on their mind, like to their parents, because their values don't match and they don't meet the standards of their parents. And, parents, of course, want the best for the kids and things like that. But, everyone has flaws. Everyone's not perfect. They can't be like the perfect child or display child, Yeah. So it's easy to experience rejection. I think it's hard to resolve that problem as well. I don't really have a solution.
Yeah, but I think at some point in our lives, we also need to understand that we're not perfect for the society as well. There are so many standards in the society that we cannot even like come close to. Do you have any kind of life rejection so far in your life?
Well, rejections, as in like if you're saying uni rejections or like job rejections and things like that, I've experienced quite a few. It is sad at that moment when I see that, I've got like a rejection letter, but it doesn't really make me feel that sad. I don't know if it's because I don't care about it that much, or if it's because myself forcing myself to think that it doesn't matter to me. That's why, to make myself like not feel as sad. I actually don't know. Haven't really dived into that deep part of my mind yet, but because I have other options too. It's not like I've experienced like rejections of all the unis I've applied for or all the jobs I applied for. So I would say it worked out pretty well, even if there are like a couple rejections. And I think you can't really expect everything in life to go smooth, as in like you never experience rejection at all. That's like unreal. It's not gonna happen. So I kind of made my mind to just accept the rejection. Sometimes I think rejection is like the best redirection, as in it leads you to where you what's best for you, not necessarily what you want.
Yeah, and then I think also for us, I've heard a lot of people like after graduating from architecture, it's not easy to find a job. I know that it's not easy to find a job, and then maybe the company that we get into is not the only one that really want to get into. But I would say so far I learned that in such of like life rejection, like life decisions, I would say what it is for us now is the best for us. I always believe in this kind of stuff. So we're just young. We're just like 21, 22. And then there's still a very long life ahead. And
I hope so.
Yeah. I think no matter what life decision that we made, we still have the time to explore, like trying out different jobs, trying out different different career paths, different roles in a company, in life as well. And it's not like we're now at 40s and then you want to get promotion to the director or something and then you got rejected. I cannot relate to that.
Yeah, at this phase of our life, at this current phase, is more about exploring and really finding out what we want and don't want. And then for 30s, it's kind of like settling down. I don't want to settle right now, to be honest.
Yeah, it's like I have a few like companies that I really want to get into in mind when I was applying for my job. But I would say the one that I get into is so far the best. I always told Zoe that I really wanted to go to London for job because I have been in Manchester for 3 years. I want to experience the big city vibe. I want to have a really, really wonderful, like very somehow overwhelming life because I'm so used to things in Manchester and I want new inspiration. But when I get the offer from Manchester office, I was like, I don't want to apply to any jobs anymore because it was really tiring to keep applying and then and then you just need to settle down. You cannot leave that offer and just still keep on waiting for different companies. And then so I ended up staying in Manchester. I think it's also because the people in the office are really nice to me. They really like me. They really appreciate my work, my effort. And then I think it's kind of like a mutual appreciation between us. And so maybe I've got rejection from some of the London office, but on the other hand, the Manchester office really liked me. I think they're always different sides of the story, and we should be positive and optimistic. Yes.
Yeah. So now talking a little bit about the emotional side of rejection. So when you first encounter like a rejection, like no matter if it's like a love interest rejection or if it's like a job offer rejection, what do you feel at that moment when you see that letter or you hear those words? I really have this kind of physical heartache. I don't know why, but my heart would ache for a moment, and then I'll keep on reading that letter or hearing words from that someone. But I think after that kind of sadness that we will definitely go through, I would always reflect on myself, like what kind of things that I should do better, or maybe I'm not as good as I thought, but I still need to be a better person. At least when I read those job interview rejections. But yeah, I'm pretty insecure in love, so I will always reject myself. But yeah, at least for the job ones. Yeah, what about you? I think for me, love, the aspect of love gave me the biggest heartache. I think it's because we're emotionally invested in that relationship.
And
we put like our real selves into the relationship in hopes that the other person will like our real self back. So when we actually get rejected, it's even more hurtful. Whereas when you're doing job interviews and things like that, it's like your job side, like your job, not ego, but like your job character, as in, because when we face different scenarios, we have like different personalities. I believe that. And sometimes your truest personalities will only be revealed when you feel entirely safe, as in like maybe it's with your family, maybe it's with someone you love. And that's why when you get rejected in those scenarios, it's usually the most hurtful, because it's like your truest self and your most vulnerable form. But
exactly.
In like jobs and like schools, I think because like there could be betrayal, or it's just work. It's not like everything in your life or somebody that you're gonna be with forever or work with forever, you kind of have this facade on, or you kind of have this different kind of persona at work. So when they reject you, it's just a part of you that's being rejected. It's not like the whole of you. Whereas when compared to like the vulnerable form of the true you, it's even more hurtful. Definitely, I've had tears, I've had like doubt, I've had like not exactly anxiety, but really strong doubt of like, am I not good enough? Like doubting my whole existence. But this is like to do with love and things like that.
Yeah.
So when it's job interviews or if it's school, I would be really rational for some reason. There would be like a moment of sadness. Okay. And then I would reflect on how can I be better? How can I improve myself? Like what aspect did I not do right, that I didn't hit correctly, that like lost me this job offer? Like I would be able to think really rationally when it comes to these things, but when it comes to like emotional dependence, like on somebody, like your loved ones and like maybe family, sometimes I get really emotional about that. So it's like a really big difference, like at the end of the spectrum between like jobs and like families and things like that for me.
But when you're talking about the stress from job interviews, like waiting for the offer, I remember when we were both in Milan, and I was really stressful about whether I could get into the Manchester office one. I was so stressful because I haven't received any emails from them, and then you told me that you have already done the best that you can do. So just wait, because they would let you know one day, and then you cannot do anything in the meantime. I think sometimes this kind of attitude is what really need in terms of facing different life decisions, and then also whether it's an approval or it's a rejection. If you have done your best, just you just need to let the time tell, and then you just need to wait for the result, because you cannot really do anything to that matter. And then also, if you really need to get approval from someone, it also requires time. You need them to understand from your point of view. You need, and also you need to understand them better. It's because I think it's a mutual thing, and I think that's all we need when we face rejections.
Yeah, I think like if you've done your best, and if you've tried not do any harm, as in try to be your best self, your best person that you can be, then you can go to sleep knowing that you've done everything you could, and all you can do is maybe wait. And to be honest, like whether that person accepts you or not is like really not anything you can do anymore, because it's in their hands, it's their choice. You've done what you could do, and you can go to sleep like with peace knowing that.
Yeah. And also it's because like if you really crave for the approval, and okay, let's say they approve you, but they're not approving you from the bottom of their hearts, and then that will do harm to both of you, because this kind of relationship will not go any further. Yeah. So I think we all need to have faith in ourselves. We need to believe in ourselves. If when we have done our best, just leave it, and then the best is yet to come.
Yeah. I was going to bring up like how do we deal with rejections, but I think we've pretty much covered it, as in like just do our best, and then just not think about it, but you can you can be at peace with yourself, because you know that you've done your best. There's nothing more that you can do, and whether they accept you or not, or reject you or not, it's their choice. And even if they do reject you, it doesn't mean that you're not good enough a person. Maybe it's just like you're not compatible. It doesn't mean that, oh, they reject me, I'm worthless, I am constantly self-doubting myself. But you know, sometimes what is like trash to another person may be valuable to another person. I'm not saying like you're trash or anything. No, this is just like a metaphor. Don't take it too seriously. But like what is seen as like not of use to a person could be a really valuable thing to a person. Like the rejection doesn't define you. And most of the times I think rejection is like redirection. It redirects you to where is the most suitable place for you, not necessarily sometimes what you want, but the most suitable for you in terms of life, in terms of growth, in terms of health and things like that.
Yeah. And also keep on opening up to yourself. Don't try to hide yourself. I also need to learn that because don't ever try to hide yourself. Try to open up to people, tell them what you think, and also open up yourself to different opportunities, try out different things. That really helps when next time you deal with rejections, and maybe when you open up to more opportunities, you'll get approved by someone, or you'll get what you need, what you want. Yeah.
Our tones are very calm in this episode when it's such a big topic, in order to try and calm you when we're talking about such a controversial or juicy or like very heavy topic.
Yeah.
So I hope we have shared some of our experiences. I hope that we can show you that you're not alone when when you're going through rejection, because we all have gone through that too. And we hope that you can, like, we have talked about some of the ways that we deal with rejection and things like that, and we hope that it's helpful to you as well.
Yeah.
So I think this is the end of this episode, and
Hope
we'll
you
talk to
enjoy
you
it.
next time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.